What up, guys? Welcome back. I don't know what happened. I'm gonna re-record. If you were part of the first live, um, I don't know how, and I don't know when it started to freeze up. So a little bit frustrated about that. But welcome back. I'm gonna have to just start this live all over because I'm not sure when it stopped or when you guys couldn't hear because I wasn't paying attention to any comments. I don't even know if people were in there because it just froze up. Sorry about that. But welcome back. It's chapter 8. We are now into the second law called Make It Attractive. Again, chapters 3 through 7 were all about make it obvious. That was the first law of behavior change. Second law is make it attractive. So let's get into it. I hope you're making things obvious. I hope you're identifying what you want and making it obvious. It's the first one. So let's see how we can better attract our habits. So he says the more attractive an opportunity is, the more likely it is to become habit forming. So what does he mean? What does he mean? What does he mean? He said society is filled with highly engineered versions of reality that are more attractive than the world our ancestors evolved in. Social media delivers more likes and praise in a few minutes than we could ever get in our office or home. Advertisements are created with a combination of ideal lighting, professional makeup, and Photoshop edits. Even the model doesn't even look like the person in the final image. These are the super normal stimuli of modern world. They exaggerate features that are naturally attractive to us, and our instincts go wild as a result. If history serves as a guide, the opportunities of the future will become more attractive than those today. The trend is for rewards to become more concentrated and stimuli to become more enticing. If you want to increase the odds that a behavior will occur, then you need to make it attractive. So throughout the discussion of the second law, our goal is to learn how to make our habits irresistible. While it is not possible to transform every habit into supernormal stimulus, we can make any habit more enticing. To do this, we must start by understanding what a craving is and how it works. So how does this work? Let us know. Let's find out. He says habits are a dopamine-driven feedback loop. When dopamine arises, so does our motivation to act. The importance of dopamine became apparent in 1954 when the neuroscientists James Odd and Peter Milner ran an experiment that revealed the neurological processes by craving and desire. By implanting electrodes in the brains of rats, the researchers blocked the release of dopamine. To the surprise of the scientists, the rats lost the will to live. They wouldn't eat, they wouldn't have sex, they didn't crave anything. Within a few days, the animals died of thirst. In follow-up studies, other scientists also inhibited the dopamine-releasing parts of the brain. But this time, they squirted little droplets of sugar into the mouths of the dopamine-depleted rats. Their little rat faces lit up with pleasurable grins from the tasty substance, even though dopamine was blocked. They liked the sugar just as much before. They just didn't want it anymore. The ability to experience pleasure remained, but without dopamine, desire died. And without desire, action stopped. When it comes to habits, the key takeaway is this. Dopamine is released not only when you experience pleasure, but also when you anticipate it. Every behavior that is highly habit forming, taking drugs, eating junk food, playing video games, browsing social media, is associated with high levels of dopamine. The same can be said for our most basic habitual behaviors like eating food, drinking water, having sex, and interacting socially. Whenever you predict that an opportunity will be rewarding, your levels of dopamine spike. I will pull this back a little bit. I'm going to say this key takeaway again. Dopamine is released not only when you experience pleasure, but also when you anticipate it. That is the key takeaway. Whenever you predict that an opportunity will be rewarding, your levels of dopamine spike in anticipation. And whenever dopamine rises, so does your motivation to act. It is the anticipation of a reward, not the fulfillment of it, that gets us to take an action. Interestingly, the reward system that is activated in the brain when you receive a reward is the same system that is activated when you anticipate the reward. What the hell? So he starts to show like the dopamine spike here, right? So you didn't have dopamine, but once you receive the reward, you have this huge spike in it. But now, since you have it, you anticipate it, right? Which is the dopamine. But if you don't get it, then it drops. It's the same with, B says dopamine rises before taking action, immediately after a cue is recognized. So let me just read this like figure here. This dopamine spike. Okay. It says dopamine is released when the reward is experienced for the first time. The next time around, dopamine rises before taking action, immediately after a cue is recognized. The spike leads to a feeling of desire and craving to take action whenever the cue is spotted. Once a habit is learned, dopamine will not rise when a reward is experienced because you already expect a reward. However, if you see a cue and expect a reward, but do not get one, then the dopamine will drop in disappointment. The sensitivity of dopamine response can clearly be seen when a reward is provided late. First, the cue is identified and dopamine rises as craving builds. Next, a response is taken, but the reward does not come as quickly as expected, and dopamine begins to drop. Finally, the reward comes a little later than you hoped. When the reward comes a little later than you hope, dopamine spikes again. It is as if the brain is saying, "See, I knew I was right. Don't forget to repeat this action next time." So that reminds me of like when you're trying to get a group of people to kind of focus on moving and be motivated to work on a project that they don't see results right away, and you're pushing them and leading them to believe in something that is not very obvious and apparent to them. And so maybe even before they've experienced the idea of you leading them into a project and you say, "Trust me," and they trust you, right? You go into the project, they anticipate this award, and the anticipation is dropping dopamine every day to get them up to keep working towards it. And if it takes a little bit longer than they want, then again, the dopamine, as it says in the book, is dropping. So then maybe there's less motivation. But then what if one day all of a sudden it happens? And then you get this rush again, and then it reminds me of that instance of like, "See, I told you." I've experienced that a few times in my personal journey. So I get what it means to like lose motivation when you're working towards something because you're not feeling the same eagerness anymore. And I guess this is what biologically is happening to us. It says the wanting centers in the brain are large. The brainstem, the nucleus accumbens, the ventral tegmental area, the dorsal striatum, the oblongata, I'm messing these up, and proportions of the prefrontal cortex. By comparison, the liking centers of the brain are much smaller. They're often referred as the hedonic hotspots. I'm sorry if I butchered these up so bad. Guys, I'm not like, not biologically, I'm not good at biology. So, no, you know what? I am good at biology. I'm identifying as a good biologist. And, so it says they often referred to as the hedonic hotspots and are distributed like tiny islands throughout the brain. For instance, researchers have found that 100% of the nucleus accumbens is activated during wanting. Meanwhile, 10% of the structure is activated during liking. Desire is the engine that drives behavior. We need to make our brains attractive we need to make our habits attractive because it is the expectation of rewarding experience that motivates us to act in the first place. This is where a strategy known as temptation bundling comes into play. So, what is he talking about here? Temptation bundling works by linking an action you want to do with an action you need to do. You are more likely to find a behavior attractive if you get to do one of your favorite things at the same time. So you can combine temptation bundling with PJ Fogg's habit stacking strategy. So he talks about habit stacking as well. So he brings back in chapter 5 the rules about habit stacking plus temptation bundling. So, for instance, it's after I do a current habit that I have, I will do this habit I need to do, and then after I do this habit I need to do, I'll reward myself with the habit I want, right? So it could be after I get a morning coffee, I will say one thing I'm grateful for what happened yesterday. This is what I need to do. And then after I say one thing I'm grateful for, I will read the news, and that's the want. So for me, I did this. This is personally. Actually, I'll read one of his examples, and then I'll go personalize it. So he says, if you want to check Facebook, but you need to exercise more, think about it like this. After I pull out my phone, I will do 10 burpees. This is the thing I need to do. The habit is the pulling out the phone. The burpees is the thing you need to do. And then after you do those 10 burpees, you can check Facebook. That's the thing that you want to do. So I haven't sat down just yet and personalized this a little bit stronger for myself. But these are some of the things that I said kind of like right after I read it yesterday. I said, after I make my coffee, I will pray. After I pray, I will read. That's the thing that I want to do, right? I know I need to pray, but I want to read. After I read, I will write. And then I started habit stacking even more. After I read, I will write. After I write, I will check social media. So I kind of did a few things. I put another habit, which was reading that I'm developing, and a want that I want to do. Stutterbug. After I make my coffee, I will pray. That's the thing I need to do, pray. After I pray, I will read. That's the want. After I read, I will write, which is the need. I need to write. After I write, I will check social media. So social media is an easy one for me. That's the one that I get addicted to the most as far as like just popping it up and looking at it. So this week I've been putting my phone out of the room and making sure that I don't see it, because that's a bad habit, and that's a cue. Whenever I see it, I want to touch it. So I'll just put it upstairs, I turn off my messages, and I work and I focus. Here's another one. After I work out, I will cook dinner, which is the thing I need to do. After I cook dinner, I will post on social media. So again, I just attach social media to it. That's like the most like obvious ones that I knew that I had a bad habit doing, or a want. It's something that I want to do. Something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy getting on social media, and I enjoy making posts and sharing my work, and I enjoy making this content. So if it's something I want to do, I need to put something in front of it that I need to do, which is like my writing and my cooking dinner. Like cooking dinner is something that I need to do to help my wife. Cooking dinner is something that I need to do to help my health. Cooking dinner is something I need to do to create a stronger family. So I need to do it. Here's another one. I said, after I eat lunch, I will update my website. After I update my website, I'll post on social media. I haven't done that one yet. Let's see here. I just kept saying social media a lot because that's one of the worst habits. So I need to find out some of these other things that I need to do and want to do. Maybe it's like editing my photos is something I want to do. I want to edit my photos, or I want to go take pictures and stuff like that. So there are other wants that I need to identify. But how about you? You know what? Why don't you do some habit stacking, habit and temptation bundling in the comments? I would love to know what your habit is, and then what you need to do, and then what you want to do in the comment. That would be awesome. I'd love to see other people's versions of habit stacking and temptation bundling. So, again, how I've been using that chapter, this is something I read yesterday. When I read it, I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And again, I'm going to keep reminding ourselves that we need to identify who we want to become. Once we know what we want to become, then it's about making the unconscious conscious, learning our bad habits, keeping our habits scorecard. This is the things that he is teaching, right? And I'm just reiterating and making sure you're not forgetting these things. Habit stacking, right? Temptation bundling. This was this chapter's. And becoming aware that when we make the habit attractive, it's releasing dopamine. It's that idea of that if I want to check social media because I want to see what happens, it's the anticipation of the reward that I want. So I know that I need to develop a new habit of doing something before that and being and when they talk about habit stacking, it's more about, okay, I just did this good thing, this good habit, right? Which was like drink water, right? And then a habit that I have already naturally is to make coffee. I'll take this back. Habit stacking is stacking a positive habit with another habit that you need to do. So in the mornings now, I started doing this week in the mornings now, whenever I wake up, I've been setting my alarm, and whenever I get up, the first thing I do is drink the water on the side of my bed because I need to increase my water intake. So I drink my water. From there, I go in the kitchen and I turn on the lights. I pour another glass of water and then I drink it. And then from there, I go brush my teeth. From brushing my teeth and rinsing my mouth out, I go do the dishes. From the dishes, I pray. And then it just begins this routine of good habits and these things that are like easy wins in the morning. You're developing great rewards, small rewards, 1% rewards at a time. I'm working towards improving myself slowly by creating a good habit routine that I will then attribute to the success that I have. Whenever I do these things and then all of a sudden I have a great day for my writing, I get to sit down and I write 10 pages. When I remove myself from this environment and I go write and I have great rewards from writing, the feeling of accomplishing my screenplay, it just continues to reinforce the things that I'm doing, right? So I'm just developing habits because of this book, good habits that I want. So thank you so much for James Clear writing this book, God. Thank you so much for this Atomic Habits. It's helping me so in so many different ways as I slowly read one chapter at a time. I said this in my chapter 9 review, which I've already recorded and you could check out here tonight. It's going to go live at 9 p.m. So this one dropped at 7. Then the chapter 9 will be at 9 p.m. I did 2 today. But the things that like I continue to see improvement on reinforces, again, like he's saying, that we can create good habits. We can get rid of bad ones. It takes effort. It takes discipline. But through understanding our bodies, we can more effectively do that and continue to do it. So, again, let me know how you're feeling about the book so far. I think it's great. I could easily read every single chapter in one day, but I don't like that because I think it's not creating the good habit. By doing this, it's allowing me to go live almost on a daily basis, and I've been doing it for now. It's going to come up on maybe, I don't know. I feel like I've made over, I'm getting close to 40 videos that I've created of this kind of content, this positive content. And it's just from creating the habit and understanding that this is what I want in my life. I want to be able to create positive content that helps people. However, it could help one person. It doesn't matter. But my want is to help others and connect with them by speaking about things that I feel, being open about my feelings, being vulnerable about my problems, being understanding that it doesn't really matter what people think in the end. I don't want them, and I don't want that to stop me. I'm not going to allow people's judgment or thoughts about what I'm saying and doing to stop me. I used to let that happen for a long time, and you get exhausted from it. So here's to pushing forward. Till next time, thank you so much for watching. Love you guys. Peace.